Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sebastian. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things. And now we see them. And today we got a pretty interesting show here for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Let's continue on with this topic here. So as you guys know, everyone had kind of weighed in on this on this John Morant story. But the one person we were kind of all waiting to hear from is Charles Barkley, who's also part of the TNT crew with Kenny Smith and others. That was the person I think we were all really waiting for. And yesterday, before tip-off between the Eastern Conference Finals game between the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat, we were actually able to hear Charles Barkley and these guys actually discuss this topic and really give us their take. And what I like about Charles is that he doesn't mince words and he says exactly what he thinks, whether you agree with him or disagree with him. And when it came time for him to speak, because I believe at the beginning it was Kenny Smith, and then ultimately it shifted towards him, what I liked was Charles Barkley went at the people yesterday that were on TV basically talking a whole bunch of gibberish about this John Morant issue that left a lot of us out here totally confused. So what we want to do is we want to play exactly what Charles had to say here about the John Morant situation and his take on what people like JJ Redick, because he was the most prominent voice out there that made this particular point. And then we're going to come back and react to his comments. Take a listen to what Charles Barkley had to say there.
Well, first of all, I got to say something, man. We got some idiots, some fools, some jackasses on television that really just piss me off, talking about Josh should make a stand saying he didn't break any laws. He didn't do anything wrong. We're in a state where you can carry your gun. Those guys are just freaking idiots. And I only say freaking because y'all won't let me say what I want to say. It pisses me off when I hear guys say that, yo, man, when you're making $100 million a year to play sports, your life changes. There are certain rules and regulations you have to live by, plain and simple. You can't do stupid stuff. That's the trade-off. Now, if you want to do all that stuff and give all that money back, more power to you. You can make that stance. Say, you know what, I want to do what I want to do. I want to flash my gun and make videos and do things. Okay, that's fine. But you can't make money on the NBA doing this stuff. I just hope that he grows up and realizes, like, yo, man, first of all, you're not a thug. You're not a criminal. You're not a crook. You're a guy making $100 million a year to dribble a stupid, $200 million to dribble a stupid basketball. And you hit the lottery. We all hit the lottery to do something. There's people out there work 9 to 5, 8 and 9 hours a week, gonna make $25,000 a year. They would kill to be in our situation. And, you know, Kenny's right. At some point, it's not your friends. Bill Parcells used to always say, and I love it, he says, yo, man, you just an unlucky dude. Bad stuff happen around you all the time. You just an unlucky dude. No, man. You got to look in the mirror and say, yeah, you know what, maybe I'm the problem. And it's disappointing because the kid's a great player, but to be a fool already, then be a bigger fool a couple months later, and this is like your fifth or sixth gun thing. And like I say, hey, I'm a gun guy. But I don't understand why you're flashing it. My bodyguard teaches me, man, if you touch your gun, you better shoot somebody. It ain't for everybody to know you got. And he riding around with, I guess he think he with Antoine Fuqua and Steven Spielberg. You got your friends, quote friends, filming you. They're idiots too. And I'm just sad, Ernie, because it's a bad look.
So you heard his comments. And I have to say I 100% concur. I 100% concur with the sentiments that Charles Barkley expressed. When JJ Redick and all the other people that were making that point yesterday were bringing it up, I was totally confounded. I was befuddled. I'm like, well, I was asking myself the question, how did we get here? How did this become a political issue? How are you guys drawing this parallel? Number one. Number two, stop with this thing of, oh, we're coming down on a 23. We need to stop. We need to stop, because now it seems like we're trying to baby the guy. John Morant is a professional that works for a multi-billion-dollar industry that pays taxes. He's a father, etc. That is not a little kid. That is not a child. That is a young adult. He's not an adolescent. He is a young adult. He is responsible, I'm pretty sure, for a lot of people. Let's not put him into diapers, please. Like, let's not put him in diapers, number one. Number two, the reason why a lot of the points that these people were making yesterday fell on deaf ears was because people already gave Ja Morant grace after the first incident. After the first incident, you can use these arguments of, oh, he's a young man, oh, he's making mistakes, all of it, blah, 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 blah. But after the second time, if you try to make the same excuse, if you try to bring up the same thing, you're now trying to make excuses. You're now trying to make excuses. That's number one. Number two, I believe that what these guys were doing yesterday was actually pretty dangerous, because now we're taking a sports discussion that was centered on the behavior of a particular one of the faces of the NBA and the way he's conducting himself, and how it's not reflecting well on the NBA. We took it from that, and now we're trying to get into a larger issue about weapons, about politicians, and what this senator is doing and what that guy is doing. I'm like, this is going into a totally different realm. And it seems like all of these people were doing this because they did not want to address the main issue. It's like you didn't want to take a real position. Because if you did, God forbid, oh my God, what will happen if you take what's going to happen? You're going to say exactly what you're thinking, and what you're going to get fired? Number one. Number two, well, you're doing that to pander. Because I really did not understand that. But why are people trying to convolute a very simple issue? Ja Morant is one of the faces of the NBA. We get this. Fantastic. The NBA represents itself. It represents its sponsors. It has a particular image that it's trying to portray to people all around the world. And the NBA is saying that this type of behavior from one of our faces is not going to be condoned. Period. So for us to get into what a politician is doing and this guy's doing, what exactly does that have to do with the NBA? Where in all of this are they saying, where did the NBA say Ja Morant cannot own a firearm? Where did they say that? Where did you hear Adam Silver say he cannot own a firearm? Where did you hear him say that? He said that nowhere. What he said was he didn't like the fact that he was broadcasting it and flashing it on social media, given his influence. So how did we end up talking about what a senator or whatever some guy's doing, whatever political leader is doing? How do we get to that stage? Some people say, well, we're trying to point out the incongruities in society, and we're trying to show that when it comes to a young black kid, and this, but you see, y'all be full of it. Y'all be full of it. It doesn't work. Because the NBA is predominantly blacks, African Americans, however you want to call them. And that's the vehicle in which they market their league through. Who's the face of the NBA? LeBron James. Is he green? Is LeBron James green? No, he's a black man. So it doesn't really work here. You can't be hollering, is it a black thing, when the face of the league is a black guy. It doesn't really work. You see, this is what I don't like. I don't like when people try to use racism in a stupid way. Really, because you dilute its importance when you use it or you deploy it stupidly. And unfortunately, this is what these guys were doing. I don't know what angle you guys, there are moments when you bring it up when it's warranted. This right here is some mumbo jumbo. And I'll say this final thing to show you guys that this has nothing to do with race. Apart from all of the antics that Ja Morant is doing, Ja is also up there throwing up gang signs. And I spoke to someone that is connected to a pretty prominent set or gang in LA. Pretty prominent. I won't say who they are, but all of you, a good amount of you guys know them. And I asked the guy, I said, man, what given the fact that you're out there and you're in LA and this guy's throwing up all of these gang signs and all of this stuff, how are these guys feeling about it? About what Ja's doing? And they said, man, a lot of people are taking issue with it, especially given the fact knowing he's not from here and he's throwing all of these signs up on the court and all of that stuff. They're not taking it as a joke. It is not no game. They're not playing any games. And Ja Morant needs to be careful. I'm telling you that not from something I read online. I spoke directly to someone that is connected to those groups. So the people out here trying to make excuses for Ja Morant, y'all are looking like straight up bozos right now. Ja's doing a lot of things that's not cool. a lot of things is not cool. And when you have a moment like that to call it down the line and you up here bringing up some obscure point about what some governor or whoever it is doing, it looks like either number one, you're afraid to take a stern position, or number two, you're pandering to some type of group, or number three, you're trying to convolute the entire discourse. And that is the very last thing we need in this with this particular issue here. These are my thoughts. So what I want to know from you guys is simply this. Number one, what do you think about the points Charles Barkley made? Number two, what do you think about the points we outlined? And number three, how do you think Ja Morant needs to behave moving forward? Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comment section and we catch you on the next show. Peace.